Welcome to the Nebraska State Fair 4-H and FFA Livestock Entries video tutorial. We'll start by opening our web browser and going to the web address nebr.fairmanager.com. At this web address you will find the 4-H and FFA online web entries. Use the Log In, Log Off button on the left. Then we will determine the type of exhibitor you want to register as. If you are a single person going to pay your exhibit fees, use the exhibitors. If you have more than one exhibitor to enter, use Quick Group, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate here today. So we're going to create a Quick Group username and tell the program that it is a new group, and go ahead and continue. We'll need to enter a password and then retype that password. And you have the option to add an email address. The email address will allow you to receive the transactions that you create here today. The next field is the default club field. If you choose to set this default club setting will be applied to all your exhibits. When you look at the list, you will see that all of the Nebraska County 4-H programs are listed and all of the Nebraska FFA programs. You can choose the one that you will be using most as you make your entries. Take a look at all the different programs and choose the one you're most likely to use. I am from Sioux County, and you can see that both the County 4-H program and the Sioux County FFA program are listed here. For my purposes today, I am going to use the Sioux County 4-H program for most of my entries. Now we need to choose a default school, and as this exhibitor will be both an FFA and a 4-H exhibitor, we will choose the FFA school that they attend. If you do not attend an FFA program, you may use the very first school listed, 4-H member, not FFA. Now you're ready to click the Continue button, and you'll go to the next screen where you can review your information for your group. If this is correct, go ahead and click Continue. And now you have an opportunity to view past transactions, which you haven't made any yet, so we will go on Begin Adding Exhibitors and Their Entries. So we're going to add a first name and a last name of our first exhibitor. Since this is the first time for putting this exhibitor in, we will note that this is a new exhibitor and click the Continue button. Now we need to add information about this new exhibitor. We need to create a password. Can be the same as your other passwords. Retype the password, add your address, city, state, and zip. Next, add the county that you participate in the 4-H or FFA program. Add your phone number, an email address, and you will see that your school field has already been filled because we put in a default setting earlier on. We need a date of birth, a t-shirt size, the grade of the class you're going into this coming fall, and what type of exhibitor you are. The exhibitor type will be either 4-H or FFA or both. Let's continue. Now we can see all the information that we just put in for our first exhibitor. Let's continue. We're ready now to make our entries. We're going to choose our first department. You can see that the departments are clearly labeled as whether they are 4-H or FFA or both. The 4-H and FFA Premier Exhibitor Contest is one that has both 4-H and FFA exhibitors involved in it. So let's choose that, and I'll show you the classes that you will find here. You can see that each of the classes is labeled whether it's 4-H or FFA, so choose the appropriate one for your discipline. Note that there are some special instructions in the upper left-hand corner. Some divisions will have these instructions. Once you enter your class, let's go ahead and go on to the next entry. We're going to choose a department of 4-H beef and a division of our test division, and choose a class from that division. This class causes us to enter a breed, add a tag ID for our calf, and we need a validation date and weight. That means the weigh-in date earlier in the year and what was that weigh-in weight. You'll also need to add your club, and since this is a 4-H class, you should be reflecting the 4-H program for your county. At this point, you have the opportunity to add a different type of entry or a similar entry. If you choose a similar entry, you can go ahead and go right into the same division and go right into class. Notice at the top it says click here to copy data from your previous entry, and it will copy the identical information that you had in your previous entry if you would like it to. In this case, I will add a different breed, a different tag ID, and a different validation weight. Now we can either continue on to the checkout or we can add a different class. If you do that, you come to the department selection and choose a department. Again, choose a division within the department, and now a class. This particular class asks us to tell it the club. This is a 4-H program, so I'm still reflecting the 4-H program in my county. As a swine class, I need to add a premise ID and a PQA number for my swine exhibitor in the 4-H division. I also need the right and left ear notches. Now we can add our entry to the cart. Now let's add our final entry to our cart. We're going to go to the departments again and choose the beef cattle department in the FFA area this time. Choose our class, and note that we need to add an animal birth date, a tag ID, and we need to make sure that our club is correct. So I'm going to shift from being a Sioux County 4-H program to the Sioux County FFA program. And finally, I will need to add a registration ID for this FFA beef animal. Now let's add our entry to the cart, and you'll see we have the opportunity now to continue on to finish out this exhibitor. Once you click continue, we look for additional items that an exhibitor may purchase. You'll see that there's the daily gate pass. Remember that each livestock exhibitor gets one free badge, which allows them fair admission for the entire fair. Once we made our choices on those fees, we can go ahead and review our cart, and you'll see that you can still edit or delete items from your cart with the red X or the pencil. At the bottom, there are several different options. We can add more entries, we can save this cart for later, or we can add entries to a different exhibitor because we are a group type entry. So let's do that and go on to our second exhibitor. We've got to name this exhibitor, and they are a new exhibitor. We have not put them in here previously. So let's continue, and now we have to add all of our exhibitor information for this new exhibitor. Give them a password and retype it. Add your address, city, state, and zip. The county of participation in either the 4-H or the FFA program, or both. Add their phone number, an email, and choose the school. Remember, if this is an FFA exhibitor, you'll want to choose the school where they attend FFA classes. If this is not an FFA exhibitor, please use the first one, which is called 4-H exhibitor, not an FFA exhibitor. Put in the date of birth, a t-shirt size, the grade for this upcoming fall, and whether or not the exhibitor is 4-H, FFA, or both 4-H and FFA. We'll assume both in this case. Let's continue on. We have a quick review of our information. Continuing on allows us then to start adding entries. For this exhibitor, we're going to add a swine exhibit, choose our division, and a class. And this is a 4-H exhibit, so the club needs to reflect that 4-H program. We will add a premise ID, a PQA number, and then the ear notches on our hog. We'll add this entry to the cart and choose to add a different entry. Go back to the department option. We're going to choose FFA beef cattle this time. Choose our division and our class, our animal birth date, our tag ID, and remember to change your club to reflect the FFA program for this class. Now we can add a registration ID for this animal and add the entry to our cart. We will add one more class here. Choose a new department, the Premier Exhibitor Contest. This exhibitor is going to show as an FFA exhibitor, so we'll change our club to reflect that. Remember the special instructions that are shown here on this particular class. Add the entry to our cart, and now we can continue on to checkout. Choose the fee items for this exhibitor and continue. Now we have the opportunity to review our cart. We can still edit or delete items in our cart. We have the opportunity to add more entries or to save this cart for later or to check out. Let's go ahead and check out. Here you will see the summary of your transactions. You must type in the word yes, Y-E-S, in the agreement statement before you can finish checking out. Since most exhibitors will have some fees associated with their entries, the checkout will cause them to go to a screen to enter your credit card information. Once you've gotten that in, you have the opportunity then to print a detailed receipt, have it emailed to you, and to finish up. Go ahead and select the Finish button here. Once you've completed the checkout process, you will be taken to a ShowWorks Live survey. Please feel free to go ahead and fill out this survey. We'd like to thank you in advance for doing that. You can now go to an account summary where you can again print your receipt or you can review your transactions. Remember that you can log in or log out at any time. You can see up in the upper right hand corner your login name, and so that you'll know that you are logged in. You can come back and do this at any time. You can also make additional entries later, or you can just review those transactions that you've already made. Thank you from the Nebraska State Fair.